Ladies and gentlemen, please take your seats. The show is about to begin.
Welcome to episode 148 of On the Bench, the podcast for scale modelers by scale modelers, all about scale models. This show is being brought to you this fortnight by Julian Watts, who has become our latest Patreon supporter. You too can help support the show. Simply go to www.patreon.com/onthebench. and pledge any amount from as little as just $1 per month. Your support is greatly appreciated and it helps us with our hosting and production costs. And of course, don't forget, you get a free On The Bench sticker when you become a Patreon supporter. So head on over there now and just help us out a little bit. And hello and welcome to the show. And in the studio with me, I have Ian.
G'day Dave, g'day Julian, g'day Benches.
And of course, we got Julian back from his sick day last time.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was actually one of the shortest sicknesses I've ever had.
Just short enough to have a day off from the bench.
Well, you're all well and healed now.
Well, I mean, it's not just that, because like I was up very late the night before, and you know, something like 3 hours of sleep plus being sick doesn't really equate to being very on point to do anything.
Totally agree.
I basically just had like the sniffles kind of thing, and like
just felt shit.
I
guess that's one way of saying it.
One way of putting it. Yes.
Yes. Well, it was a weird sniffles too, because like after like the initial period, it was sort of like a case of blow my nose, and then I'd be fine for the next 5 hours. No runny nose, no blocked nose, no nothing. And then I'd have to blow it again 5 hours later, and that's it. It was very weird. Very odd. But here I am.
You're back.
I'm back again.
Well, we've got a great show lined up. We've got a fantastic interview coming up with Lincoln Wright, talking about his latest publication.
It's going to be great.
MK44. But before we get to that, we've obviously got our what's new in the modelling world, as well as a huge mailbag again this episode, which is fantastic. But how you guys been travelling? What you been doing since the last show? Start with you, Julian.
Okay, so because it's been a while, so the Celica has gone in the bin.
Yeah, so I heard. Yeah.
The well of tears.
Yeah.
Has
So
been
what happened
sated.
was I painted it with another layer of clear over. I can't remember why I needed another one, but I needed another layer of clear. And not only did it like fill up all the panel lines and just make the thing look nasty and not like like dipped in goop, it also I didn't wait long enough, because I handled it. It was touch dry, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll start polishing now, and it worked. I started polishing, and it was coming up good. And then I pulled my fingers away because I'd been holding it in my left hand, and then that's when I realized I'd just put giant fingerprints in it. Giant fingerprints.
So are you like sort of fingerprints you get like if you have like a spillage of to me extra thin that you didn't realise, and you pull your thumb away, and
that kind of thing.
Like it looks like it's bit right deep.
Oh, for sure, 100%. And there's
so basically, it's take it back to plastic and start again.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, no, I'm not doing that. In the bin it goes. Gone.
It's a shame, considering how much work you put in.
And then I immediately, I know. And then I immediately went out and bought a replacement kit, because we need a car kit for the upcoming Waverley
Interclub,
which is Interclub,
a couple of weeks away.
Yeah, a couple of weeks away. So I've got a Hasegawa Mazda Cosmo from 1968
with a really funky 1960s girl to go with it.
Yeah, it's a great great figure, isn't it?
Yeah, I still reckon that little mini skirt she's wearing should be either bright orange or lime green to really fit the 60s
but see,
vibe.
you're also thinking of like 1960s era United States and Western society rather than Japan.
Japan was still pretty in the 60s.
That was swinging.
That was swinging, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess, but maybe not quite bright orange.
You'd be surprised.
Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look up some
1960s Japanese fashion.
yes, something like that. In any case, it'd be nice, like after the fact, to have that figure painted and put there next to it, and have maybe a little bit of like a roadside diorama kind of thing.
Yeah, that'd look cool.
Yeah,
Better start cracking, dude.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's like most of the paintwork on the car is done.
Yep.
Right. I got to put some decals on it and do a final clear, and that'd be
nice.
It.
Just let the paint sit this time.
Yes.
Let it gas off.
Yeah, and then like the underside and the interior of the car are mostly black on black on black on black on black. It's just all different shades of like material. So it's like I bought a couple of like different SMS paints for it. I've got some like semi-gloss. I've got some gloss. I've got some matte. I'm gonna just sort of change it up. I'll throw in some tire black, which is like slightly blue tinted sort of dark grey kind of color.
Correct,
So I've got some different blacks to work with to create some interest in an otherwise bland interior, right?
Yes.
Funny enough, this kit, the Hasegawa kit, there's actually a special version of it that has white metal engine parts.
Oh, really?
And it costs a bomb of money. It's like 3 times the price
Ouch.
of the kit.
Ouch.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it.
So,
Wow.
and then they do the same thing for the Toyota 2000 GT, which was famously in the James Bond movie.
Right.
I forget which one it is, but it's the one where the guy isn't driving an Aston Martin. I think it's where like the girl says, "Quick, get in," and she drives off with him in the passenger seat.
Oh, right. Yep.
And it was a convertible version, which they only did for that movie.
Well, there you go.
I wouldn't mind doing one of those as well.
Yeah.
And they've got a much better interior. It's got like the wood grain type stuff in the dash. And
Yes.
Yeah, much more interesting interior. In any case, so I bought that kit, and I've also bought the MAK Falcon in 120 scale.
Nice.
That'll be fun to do.
That's a great looking kit.
Yeah, I've got some punchy green and a nice black color to do the Mickey Mouse kind of scheme.
I like an armour scheme.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like MAK is all about armor techniques.
That's right.
So if you're an armor modeler and you want to break out of your shell a little bit and do a bit of science fiction, this is what you do.
Yes.
And then another, because we're doing sci-fi, so I was like, in for a penny, in for a pound, I'll buy another sci-fi thing. So I bought is it Valkyrie or something like that? One of those Macross Plus or whatever it is. It looks a bit like
a sort of suit thing.
Sort of. It's like it looks like a Russian Sukhoi or something like that at the front, but it's a sci-fi jet looking thing with a.
Oh yeah.
And it's got one of them.
Yeah, I know the ones. Yes.
It's got one of them AWACS style disc radar things on top of it.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah, and it's a bright turquoise color.
Ooh,
turquoise and black.
That sounds interesting.
Yeah,
that sounds very interesting. Yeah,
and the plastic is turquoise too.
Ooh. Yeah, it's weird when they go for those strange
every time I show someone
colours.
This kit, right? I'll say, open it up, and they'll take over off the cover, and they're like, and their head gets blown back. The biggest eye gouging.
Yeah,
the
biggest eye gouge plastic I ever dealt with was the Malv 48 scale P40N. That was lime green plastic. Lime green, like the bright. You basically needed sunglasses to open the box.
I've seen some kits in like a bright orange, like a fluoro orange color, like old fashioned 1980s water gun
pistol colors.
Yeah, water pistol.
It's like when I first got this kit and opened up, I've gone, oh, were they making water pistols before they changed the molds?
Yeah, so I started a little bit of this of these two sci-fi kits last night, just because I'll start digging into them. I mean, there's some areas like ejector pin things that I had to fill on the Falcon on the underside, because I want to I may as well take the time to do that, because I've got plenty of time to, because I reckon I'll breeze through the painting and stuff fairly quickly.
Yep.
It's not like relative to what I'm currently working on with cars, endless layers of clear coats and trying to get things perfect. Oh, look, there's a little hair in there. Time to spend the next 20 20 minutes buffing that one out.
Yeah.
Oh, so on the Mazda Cosmo, I've been stripping all of the chrome plating off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I got areas to paint around, like rings around the headlights.
Yep.
To paint in chrome, but obviously that chrome won't match the rest of the chrome.
No.
That's
yeah.
That's
So what chrome are you going to use?
I think I might use. I still got some alclad chrome. I've noticed that SMS don't have a chrome.
Oh, who's
No,
bought
SMS do have chrome.
Super Chrome.
Oh, do they have a super chrome?
Super Chrome. I think it's
SMS
Super Chrome.
have chrome, and not only that, they've got the chrome pens as well.
Oh yeah, they got the chrome pens. I know that much, but I don't think. I tried finding like a chrome.
Yeah, just jump on the website and have a look.
So no, another product they're coming out with very shortly, I saw online recently with SMS, is colours for Australian cars.
Ooh,
for muscle cars, yeah.
That's news.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very, very excited about that, especially when I start doing my XB.
Oh, cool. Yeah. And something I've noticed, like, when it comes to car colours, you can't really just go into the into your any given paint line and go, oh yeah, I'll use that, because it doesn't look quite right.
It doesn't look right, yeah.
Because a lot of like you got your primary colours and you got your military colours. The military colours are too drab, right? You got your Gundam colours that are very punchy, but those kind of things are never the same as period correct.
Yeah, unless
car colours that always have they're like off the primary colours, but they're a version of the primary colours that is very distinct and of the era. And if you don't get it right, it doesn't look like a car. It looks like a toy.
Yeah,
instead of being a model.
Totally agree. It's the only other way really is to go for either one of the specialist hobby manufacturers of paint manufacturers.
There's a few out there.
Gravity and what was the other one? There was a Gravity and there was another brand I can't remember off the top of my head. Zero. But they are super expensive and they're hot paints.
Yeah.
You've got to be so careful. And
basically, I figured it out. So the way to shoot those is to shoot them from a foot away.
Just dust it on.
Yeah. And just keep it moving constantly at all times. Always keep spinning the model, right? Yep. Don't ever let it sit in one place and shoot it from a mile away. So anything that could possibly melt your model is like venting into the atmosphere instead of onto your model.
Because I bought a pot. I can't remember now off the top of my head if it's either Zero or Gravity, but I bought some Guardsman Blue for when I finally get around to doing another Shelby Cobra.
No, yeah.
And me Daytona Coupe.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a pretty unique colour, that Guardsman Blue.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Yeah.
And I'm just looking at that going, and I've been watching videos on how to do it, and it's a very convoluted way of painting.
Very interesting. Basically, you only want to get the colour on. You don't need to lay down a perfectly smooth coat.
No, it's the clear coat that does it. You basically just want to get the colour on and then tie it in with the clear coat.
Yeah, the clear coat does all the work. Yeah, so I've been stripping, it's taken a while. It's taken a long while, actually. So what happened is it's taken about 24 hours of sitting in Tamiya lacquer thinner to strip it all off, and it's getting there. Like, it's almost all completely off. And then, funnily enough, so you know how, like, if you've ever painted a car mold, you'll notice the little hair type things, the little dust that ends up in your paint and pisses you off. I found one of those under the chrome plating that came in the kit.
Even from the factory, they didn't.
Yes, it's factory dust. Factory dust.
That sucks.
It doesn't matter. I was gonna strip it anyway, but I thought that was hilarious. Well, even before I made the mistake, they made the mistake.
Yes. What have you been doing?
Well, we had a long weekend.
We did.
4-day long weekend, and I thought it was an opt time to Will from Sprue Cutters.
Yep.
And myself decided, we'll start our Musaru Cup builds.
Ah, okay.
So we've started the Armour Hobbies Mustangs.
Yes.
And I had 4 days, and wow, what a kit. I mean, it is so small.
So this is the Musaru Cup we're talking about.
Yep.
Excellent. And what I want to know is, who's the target?
Oh, has to be Darren.
That's D-Ran.
Has to be D-Ran. That guy is just such a phenomenal builder.
He's such a freak.
He is like up there, and we're going to try and knock him off his perch. In a friendly way. We're not going to be mean or anything, but
We're not going to bring the cup back home to us. Anyway.
There's a lot of pressure on me. I'm up against some of the world's best builders, mate. So, look, I'm going to give it my all.
Okay.
So far, I'm very happy with the way it's coming out.
Yeah.
But like I said, I'm not used to 70-second scale.
Yeah.
And especially a 70-second scale kit that has the detail of a 48 scale kit, maybe even larger scale. We must be close to 20 decals just for the interior.
Wow.
Like placards and your instrument panels and knobs and everything. And everything's so small and just super detailed. And then getting the right colours and getting it all together, and then doing the Australian version, which doesn't have the extra fuel tank behind the pilot, so you've got to change all your radio and battery boxes around to suit it. So that's all done. The interior's done. Fuselage halves are buttoned up together. Haven't put the rear tail feathers on yet because there's a couple of panel lines I need to just get rid of, and there's another panel line I need to add, which is going to be fun in 70-second scale. It's a little, like a rectangle that sits just behind the exhausts on the left-hand side.
Okay.
Which I've got to try and scribe in. They give you a template.
Oh, the template comes in the kit?
Yeah, you get two templates. You get like a little brass photo etch bit, which I think would be just too difficult because you've got to try and hold that in place, and it's probably about 4 mil wide. It's tiny.
Yeah.
So you would never be able to hold that in place while you're scribing, or they give you a template with the vinyl cut mask, which I think if I'm careful enough, I might be able to use that one better.
Well, kudos to the manufacturer for thinking of including those things.
Oh, yeah. The undercarriage wheel wells are done, which is really fun. If you know a Mustang, it's basically bare aluminium, and then all your ribs are in that chromat yellow.
Yep.
And they're so small. I thought, how am I going to mask and paint these? Because the bits, it would be like millimetre squares of masking tape I'd have to put everywhere just to mask it up properly. And I thought, that's got to be an easier way. So I painted it with the AK polished aluminium, let that sit for a while, and then basically just knocked up the zinc chromat colour with some Vallejo just standard figure painting paints, Vallejo, and just roughly brushed it on. And like I went over the sill, I went over the aluminium, I didn't care. Just slathered it on. Let it dry overnight, got a toothpick, and it just rubs straight off the chrome.
Oh, wow.
It's very sheer surface, so it would come off pretty easily.
Yeah, it was like you just barely had to touch it and it just came off.
That's a neat little trick.
And I was like, oh, this saved me so much time.
Yeah.
And it looks good.
Yeah.
And there's so much detail on the inside, but then all the photos I've seen of the RAAF 3 Squadron Mustangs when they're on the ground, all the inner doors are up.
Oh.
So I've chopped the pegs off my inner doors, so I'm closing the inner doors. So half the stuff I've done, you're not even going to see anymore.
From what I understand, those doors are supposed to be up, but then
after
the pressure drops and they sag down.
Start to sag down, yes. So, so the Moosaroo Cup's coming along this weekend. Because I painted up all the wing surfaces, all the panel lines where I'm supposed to, except for the odd panel line, which is supposed to be kept there, like your access for your gun, for your ammunition and so forth. So I'll give that all a good sand, and hopefully this weekend I'll have the wings and the rear tailplane and tail on, and from there on it's go, go, go.
It's a 48 scale in 70-second scale, isn't it?
Yeah.
So how's the group build going? So you said you got you're sitting down with a few of the other guys from the other podcasts doing it. Is that just a private little group?
Yeah, it's just a private little group
Okay.
that they put together. I wasn't sure if it was going to be like public or anything, but the guys just want to keep it a bit subdued between ourselves, and that's fair enough. Don't have a drama. Unfortunately, with the time differentiation, I don't get much time to get on there and chat because while they're all on there chatting, I'm flat out at work. And
that's very rude of them not to consider the time difference.
They understand.
They're doing it on purpose to put you behind, dude.
Like I'm on a chat with like Will and Brian from Small Subjects, and our mate Sam Dwyer is on there as well. And
what's Sam doing? He should be at work as well.
Yeah, I know. But it's Sam. Matt Doog.
Doogs, yeah.
And so I'm on there with some of the world's best modelers, and it's quite intimidating, to be honest. There's all these huge names, and then there's me. Hi.
Well, don't care where you come as long as you beat D-Ran.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. That's the object. We got to beat D-Ran. Got to beat D-Ran.
Shots fired,
Yeah,
man.
but no,
Shots fired.
it's. I'm loving the build.
Cool.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have the wrong tyres because we've got to do it out of box.
Yeah.
I can't change it to the straight tread pattern that the RFF used on the 3 Squadron Mustangs.
Yeah.
I was thinking, maybe if I fill it and rescribe it, and then I thought to myself, no, I'm not going to put myself through that. That's just, in 72nd scale, that's just asking for trouble.
The pain.
Yeah. The only other thing I did was downloaded and purchased Kevin Footer's latest publication on the Felix Day.
Oh, well, it's interesting you should say that because he actually dropped us a line
did he now?
talking about that.
Ah.
And he's saying that, G'day David and Julian, hot in the heels of our recent Phantom book, I'd like to announce the launch of our newest title, Building the Wingnut Wings Felix Stowe F2A early version in 1/32nd scale by Gary Boxall, 292 pages, all for the bargain price of $17 Australian.
And it is a bargain because I bought it and I spent a few hours just transfixed on the screen. So yeah, it's a great publication. Another good publication from our good mate Kev.
Yeah, www.klp.com.au.
Yeah, and it's basically go through the whole build and markings and because he's done his own paint scheme and so forth on it. Yeah, he's done a really good job.
And as I said, $17. Jeez,
Yeah.
I mean that's like $10 US.
Exactly.
292 pages. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So yeah, that's basically what I've been doing for the last 2 weeks since we last spoke.
Excellent.
What about you, Dave?
I haven't been doing too. I've still been doing a little bit of work on my Hawk, Space 1999. Slowly getting there. But I've been busy with other things, and unfortunately haven't had as much time on the bench as I wanted to. So
Yep.
I've got tomorrow as a day. Oh, actually, I've got to mow the lawns tomorrow. I'll find some time tomorrow to just get on the bench and do a bit more work. Get rid of that. I need to knock that over.
And hook into that Chris Voss book so you can do your paint.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. All right, well, we've got a huge mailbag to look at. So what we might do is have a very quick break and have a word from our sponsor, and we'll be back with the mailbag shortly. The Scale Model Supply. Certified Australian made, the Scale Model Supply has a comprehensive range of premium acrylic lacquer paints that have been specifically developed to cater to the scale modeler. Designed to use straight from the bottle, SMS paints have taken all the guesswork out of airbrushing. Simply shake, pour and spray for a fast drying and extremely durable result. But wait, there's more. SMS have just released the new water-based range, Infinite Colour. It is the ideal paint for anyone who is into miniature painting. And with 48 colours that can be mixed to create any colour you want, the possibilities are, well, infinite. The ever-growing range of SMS paints will suit all types of model builders, be it military, aircraft, train, car, science fiction, or even Gunpla. SMS paints will have a colour to suit you. Available now through selected stockists worldwide and online at www.scalemodeler.com.au. Okay, as I said, we've got a huge mailbag, which is wonderful to get so many emails in from everybody. The first one comes from John Carroll, and we actually met John when we were over in the US.
Oh, yeah, I remember. John is a great bloke.
Yeah, he said, "Hi guys, wanted to share with you my club's recent newsletter. I submitted an article about my trip to the 2022 National and reference meeting you guys. Please check it out."
Oh, definitely.
So that was really cool.
I'll have
and
to check that out. You have to pass it on to me, Dave. So
I will.
Read.
And he says, meeting and talking to you guys, a very memorable part of the weekend. Wish I'd run across you early and had the opportunity to share a few adult beverages with you. Well, John, fear not, because Ian's going to be back in Texas next year.
Yeah, John, we'll have a few brewskis.
So you'll be able to catch up with him then and have a nice chat with him. Our good friend Chris Meddings.
Yay!
He writes in about shelf queens, which is our subject from last show.
Week. Yes.
And he says, I have loads of shelf queens. Like Ian, I find if you stop on a model, it's unlikely to get finished, although I do finish one sometimes. I used to feel guilty about them, but then I realised finishing models is not my hobby. Making models is my hobby. So now, so long as I'm making a model, I'm doing it right. And that's Chris.
I like that.
Yep.
That's a very good way of putting it.
And speaking of Chris, he's coming on the next show.
Yeah, oh, fantastic.
So, yeah.
And, geez, we get some great guests.
We certainly do. Our good mate Brad Belsham. I'm just trying to find out how many different ways I can say your name, Brad. He writes in, hey guys, first off, I hope Julian is feeling better.
Yes.
Second, when it comes to shelf queens, I agree with David. I do think that knowing that you've come to that modelling mojo killing point in a kit is a sign of strength. Put it aside before it envelopes your soul. But once a year, I do a shelf queen build-a-thon weekend with friends. Hey, that's a damn good idea.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Pull 2 or 3 from the shelf and clear the bench. It's a great palate cleanser and will make you appreciate just how well you were doing when you took a break. Again, to agree with Mr. Goldfinch, my Tamiya Samoa, that's not how you spell.
Samoa
S35 French tank, sat in the shelf for 2 years, but then one shelf build weekend I got it finished. I'm not advocating just walking away when something gets difficult, but modeler, know thyself and take a break when appropriate. Thanks, guys, and keep up the great work. See you in Wisconsin.
That's a good idea. Nothing like peer pressure to keep you on
track.
Yep.
Yeah.
Remember what they say, kids. Always bow to peer pressure.
Oh, jeez. Tim Holland writes in, great episode, gents, on shelf queens. I really enjoyed the discussion. 70. That is my current list of shelf queens. Why so many, you ask? Well, 1, work in progress. While I finish 1 to 2 a month, each takes about 6 months from start to finish. I start a new one when I finish one. That's about a third of the list, and maybe these don't really count. Point number 2, challenges. As another profoundly average modeler... Oh, Tim, you're selling yourself short here, mate. As a profoundly average modeler, I reach a point in some builds where they need more skill than I currently have. 2 of them are VAC forms, and at least 8 are model schemes, and another is a racer that needs a better paint job than I can do right now. The rest are mainly paint or decal challenges, and that's about half of the list. Point 3, crack-ups are the rest. Models that did not survive a move, being an ex-retired Navy person like the rest of the geeks, or a short trip from the hobby room to the meeting or return. I just need to fix or bin some very old builds that I'm keeping just for nostalgia reasons. I've got half of them stacked in the corner of my hobby room in neat boxes so that I can revisit each one whenever I finish a model. I'm trying to whittle these down, and I've promised myself to remove 1 queen for every regular kit that I build.
Wow. I've got to say, that's 70. That's a lot.
Yeah. And that's from El Presidente, and he's called El Presidente because he's actually the president of the local club out there.
Which club's that, Dave?
I've forgotten. Sorry, Tim. My apologies, and sorry to the geeks because I've forgotten what model club you guys are all in. But anyway, he's a really great guy. It was great to catch up with him over in Omaha, and we had quite a nice long chat.
He's got a real interesting eclectic collection there as his shelf coins, hasn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, I can see a Saturn rocket sitting there. Come on.
And an aircraft carrier and a tank. Blue Angels F-18.
Oh, well, if he keeps
some of those are tiny. Look at those ones down the bottom left there.
1 to 100. They actually look small, the 1 to 144 scale.
I look 1 for 350 scale.
Yeah, I think they would. No, they'd be 1/700 scale, I think. Because think about it, like you can picture that landing on that 1/700 scale carrier.
Yeah. Wow. Well, thanks for that, Tim. Really appreciate what you said there. Kenneth Reed writes in, hey guys, Ken Reed again from the AM Show Plastic Modelling Podcast. Here's an idea for the Moosearoo build. Use some Mr. Dissolve putty to fill the diamond tread and rescribe the tyres with the block tread pattern. There's a grey area in the rules that it doesn't state that you can't rescribe to correct details. I hope all is well, and send Julian some get well vibes from Steve and myself.
I don't need them.
You can draw better now.
Yeah, I'm all good now. Thanks anyway.
Yeah. No, I know what he means. I was thinking the same lines of filling it, resanding, and then rescribing the... But then I'm looking at the size of these, and I'm thinking, in my eye, it's just too small.
Too small.
So like
Way too... If it was 48 scale or... If it was 48 scale, it would be built for myself, and I wouldn't worry about it because I just buy aftermarket wheels because I'm lazy.
I didn't know exactly what Ian was talking about when he was explaining it to me, what the tread pattern looked like. And the best way I could explain it is that down the center of the wheel, it's basically like bricks.
Yeah.
You know, where you got they alternate, you know?
Yeah. It's not like diamond.
Like a brick wall.
Yeah.
No. So it's not. There'd be a diabolical level of scribing. I mean, you'd have to be on par with what's his name? Doing the space shuttle.
Oh yes! Oh my God!
Yeah.
That guy
except smaller, like 10 times smaller.
Exactly.
But he did a lot of scribing that space shuttle with just a pin, a needle.
Yeah, I know.
And the good thing was the arm hobby is plastic. It's that soft plastic, so it's going to scribe real easy.
Crazy skills. Derek Post is our next one up, and he writes, gentlemen, great episode as usual. I found I had 6 shelf queens when I started back in the hobby after a 28-year hiatus sitting in my stash. I decided I wanted all the planes, so I told myself for every new kit I started, I needed to finish a shelf queen. Eventually, I worked my shelf stash till there was nothing left. Oh, round of
Well
applause,
done.
Derek. Unfortunately, when I last moved, I had my Great Wall Hobby 148 scale P61 with way too much aftermarket PE not completed. So this is my only shelf queen that I currently have.
I've got one of them, and exactly the same. I've got that much photo etch and resin aftermarket for mine.
I'll stay there till I get the mojo to get to the finish. I've developed a diorama idea for it, so it may be a few years while I develop my diorama skills, thanks to Uncle Night Shift. Regarding other modelers' shelf queens, it's a hobby. Build it if you wish, or let it sit, or even blow it up.
Your old firecracker.
But I can tell you, if you want to get through stash queens, I did find a fun challenge to knock out shelf stash that had been sitting around for a long time. My oldest, 31-year-old.
31 years for a shelf queen.
Jeez.
Whoa, that's sitting there for a while.
Wow. On a side note, I appreciate your comments on the IPMS notes for change, and I'm stealing your saying, playing the ball, not the player. Thanks again for a great podcast. That's from Derek.
No worries, Derek.
Terrific, mate. Scott Hoffman writes in, g'day Dave, Ian and Julian. Hope you're all keeping well. And Julian has stayed away from the light and is feeling better.
Yeah, I'm fine.
First off, I wanted to thank you all for such a brilliant show. Like many people, I've returned to the hobby during COVID. And in my case, after a 16-year hiatus, some podcasts such as yours have made the hobby infinitely more enjoyable.
Thank you.
Listening to Julian hate mornings even more than myself, and Dave grapple with pronunciation, mostly English at times, has accompanied me on the bench and made my modelling adventures even more enjoyable. Please keep up the great work, fellas. And regarding our last episode on Shelf Queens, he's attached some photos of his second biplane he's ever built, which is a 132nd Wingnut Wings Roland D. And I've got to say that, dude,
He's used aviatic decals on it too, by the looks of it.
you are
That's
a
amazing.
top modeler. That is awesome.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Anyway, that's cheers, Scott from Canberra.
Oh.
Julian Cult member number 77389.
No, that's not the part I was saying about. That's more like a. I was oohing about the fact
and
that he'll be at
and we're going to
Canberra.
be catching up with him in Canberra.
Yeah, we certainly will. We'll catch up with them when we see you.
Yeah,
So,
definitely, Scott. Looking
thanks,
forward
Scott.
to it.
No worries. Cheers, mate. Mike writes in. Mike Lloyd Owen from Hampshire. Oh. I've just listened to episode 147 and heard that one of you has bought the Tamiya LRDG Chevy truck.
That was me.
Well, his father commanded the LRDG in the war, and this was one of their vehicles. There's an example in the Imperial War Museum that was found
I've seen photos
in
of
the
that.
desert after the war by an American oil explorer. He sent my father the Latin Long, and he then financed an expedition to collect it. Holy
Moly.
that is amazing. This is the second model I've made of the truck, and it is in one of Tamiya's cases, which limits the size. And I've attached a few photographs. I thought the coincidence would amuse you. Well, the coincidence not only amuses me, but I'm thoroughly impressed.
Yeah.
And you've made a really good finish on that model kit too. I'll
Definitely.
take the hat off to you there.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a great
But yeah,
little
I've seen photos of the one it was at the Imperial War Museum, and it's just basically been sandblasted back to metal.
Oh, really?
And it's like this really dark metal. So no rust. It's out in the middle of the Libyan desert, I think.
And Dave mentions his father, and he actually passed his obituary. And his father was Major General David Lloyd Owen.
Oh,
So, wow.
definitely.
Kudos and hats off.
Yeah.
Wow. That's fantastic to have a piece of history sort of dropped in our
Definitely.
of the way.
Thanks very much, Mike.
Cheers. Last one. Matt Hill writes in. I've just had a thought. I hope it didn't hurt, mate.
Wow. Boom. You're insulting people that aren't even here.
Has anyone ever raised the idea of a kit manufacturer instructions having a brief description of what each part is? I feel that this would help us, the modeller, who may not be proficient in knowing every single piece of the subject intimately, identify and research parts for accurate colouring and weathering. It would guide us on knowing what the manufacturer is trying to pass off part B26 as. Instead of now, B26 is just a blob of plastic. Could be a light, might be a bucket, who knows? I think that's a darn good idea.
I have seen some kits, and I'm pretty sure they might have been the old AMT car kits. I'm probably wrong, but I do remember some manufacturers' car kits, and they actually specified what the parts were. Oil pump, fuel pump, fan,
Right.
so forth. But yeah, and it is done very occasionally, but not often enough.
Right.
And I think, yeah, it'd be a handy thing to have in instructions.
Matt finishes up. I must applaud you, Dave. Continuing to read the mail despite your disadvantages takes great courage. Plus, it provides us with amusement at your expense, so thanks.
Oh, looks like he got you back.
He did.
Kind regards,
Good
Matt.
burn, Matt.
I'd already pre-read it. That's why.
Oh, you cheated.
Oh, well, that's it for mail. Again, if you want to send us an email, we love hearing from you guys. So it's on the bench 64@gmail.com. Just send us an email, and we're happy to read it out.
Yeah.
All right, we need to move on to what the Falcon has to say. But before we do that, Chris Maddings has dropped us a quick little thing. So let's have a listen to what Chris has to say.
Hey guys, it's Chris here talking about Inside the Armour publications. Great news. Volume 2 of Models for Ukraine is out for pre-order now. The first book raised over £19,000 for the Disasters Emergency Committee Ukraine Appeal. And we hope this book will raise more than $22,000 to add to that total. The book features a number of fantastic artists, including Alex Clark, Calvin Tan, Emilien Diablo, Vance Lubin, Felipe Costa Ramirez, Harvey Lowe, Ian Barraclough, Jean-Bernard André, John Colasante, Jose Brito, Katerina Derbalova, Paolo Portuesi, Rene van der Hart, Robert Blocker, Sam Dwyer, and many more. If you'd like to pre-order the book, I suggest you do it as soon as possible because it's already selling very fast. Just go to InsideTheArmour.com, where you can pre-order your book and where you can also order any of our fantastic publications on paper or in ebook format.
And of course, we're going to have Chris on next show, but certainly it's a great initiative by him. He's doing all the work, and all the proceeds are going to.
He's doing it all off his own bat, too, which 100%. Is just amazing.
Yep. So if you could support, certainly go and have a look and purchase a copy, or indeed, they are available now. So go and purchase a copy. The site is thearmour.com. So just pop over there and purchase a copy. All right.
Can you hear that, Dave?
Can I hear what?
The Falcon.
The Falcon, yes.
Yes, I thought I heard something in the background.
Oh, what's the Falcon got to say? Well, it's been a heck of a week with stuff being announced, so let's see if the Falcon's managed to pick up on some of it.
Yeah.
And he starts off, I hope you're all feeling better this week. Well, there was nothing wrong with Ian and I.
No, we were fine, yeah.
But thank you, Falcon, for asking. Aircraft news.
Well, you know why he asked, don't you?
Why?
He's a Falcon. And if he sees something dead on the ground, he'll go for it.
Aircraft news. Don't know if you heard, but there's been a bit of news coming out of the All Japan Model and Hobby Show. Probably the biggest news. Tamiya have announced a 48 scale Lockheed Martin F-35A. There are going to be markings for 9 different countries,
including Australia.
There's going to be a pilot figure, accurate surface detail, lots of missiles and bombs, pilot entry ladder, and masks for the canopy. Price is coming in at $98 US, and it's going to be available in 2022
during the holiday season.
Tamiya was supposed to announce two all-new toolings over the weekend, but at the time of writing, it had only been the F-35 that had been announced. Perhaps even more surprising than the F-35, Trumpeter have shown a built model of the 32nd scale Douglas TBD-1 Devastator. This has been in Trumpeter's catalogue since 2016, and everyone had given up on it ever appearing. But blow me down, it's finally going to happen. Modelers can rejoice.
It'd be a decent size too.
Oh, yeah. Before we continue on with what he's sent in, I'm just wondering if the F-35, whether the canopy is going to come already pre-tinted.
I wouldn't have a clue. Not my cup of tea.
I think I'd like to have one if not in my
like
stash.
All these new releases are coming out, I'm looking at them online going, meh. Look, I'm not saying they're shocking kits, that they'll be great kits, but it just doesn't rock my boat.
You're not a modern...
No.
Yeah.
What about you, Dave? Would you get an F-35?
Yep, 100. In fact, I've got some in my stash. I've got the Italeri one.
Well, you can get rid of that now. The old Shitteleri kit.
Yeah. Yeah.
148 scale.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you like grey.
Yeah, I do like grey.
If there was more, because, isn't there a difference in size between some of them? Some of the F-35s? Because, one of them was VTOL and one of them's not.
Well,
blah, blah, blah.
you got the A, which is land-based, B, which is naval, and C, which was the Marines version.
No, other way around. B is the Marines because it's a VTOL, and the C is the
naval one.
Yeah,
yep.
But
as a model, they're different, completely different planes, right?
So the C has larger wingspan, and the B obviously has the vertical thrust.
Yeah. So the raw.
So would you do one of each kind of a thing, or would you only do an Aussie one or whatever?
Oh, look, I think it'd be interesting to have all three side by side so you could see the differences.
Yeah, that would be kind of interesting. Because, in photo, they're just all
because the Brits would be so disappointed over this Tamiya release because you can't do a British one.
No, you can't do a B model yet. Yeah.
No. Hang on, you said B.
Yeah, B. The Brits getting the B model,
which is the VTOL.
Yes.
Oh right, okay.
Yep. Because they can only do that. That's the only way they can launch off the Queen Elizabeth carriers.
Is the carrier deck so short?
No, they didn't do a catapult launch. They've done a ski jump launch on the British carriers.
They're like Harrier carriers.
Yep. I get you.
It rhymes.
A Harrier carrier, yes. Right, where were we?
Hobby Japan have shown their 132nd scale Mitsubishi A6M5. The model was originally to be released in 2019. Was the wait worth it? No, it certainly was not.
Oh.
What was on offer is a pre-painted, easy-build kit. There are large gaps between the parts, plus wide and deep panel lines that wouldn't look out of place on a die-cast model, or should I say, an Airfix kit. The only good thing about it are the two pilot figures, one seated and one standing, which actually look rather nice. But there are much better Zero options out there.
Well, you definitely go the Tamiya one.
Even though they said they wouldn't do it, Border Models will be releasing the nose section of their Lancaster B Mark 1/3 as a separate kit. Well, there you go. Boom, boom.
Yep.
Fine Molds are currently developing a 1/72 scale kit of their Douglas F-15C Eagle. As if we need another F-15. There you go. Pit Road have announced a 1/144 scale kit of the Kawasaki P1 Maritime Patrol aircraft. Oh, that wouldn't be bad, actually, in that scale. I have seen there is a large. Another manufacturer does that one in a larger scale.
Hasegawa.
Is it Hasegawa?
I think so, yeah.
72nd scale, I want to say.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know, it's the
modern version of the was it the Emily?
Yeah, pretty much. Great Wall Hobbies showed renders of their upcoming 1/48 scale A10C Warthog, and I've got to say that
About time.
social media just went nuts.
Yeah, where did this come from?
Because that came out not more than an hour after the Tamiya announced the F-35. And models just going nuts all over the internet over this.
Yep.
And given that we've been crying out for a good A10 for a long, long time.
Yes.
I can't think of the last one. When was the last kit that was built of an A10?
I wouldn't know.
Well,
Sorry.
there's the crappy old Tamiya kit. There's the
old Italeri kit.
Italeri.
Monogram did one.
Yeah, yeah. So they've been hanging out for a new version.
Yeah.
So let's hope that Great Wall have got it right.
I can't wait for people to start complaining that it's the wrong version, wrong variant of the A10.
Yeah, well.
They really should do the other one. That's the obvious choice.
The 48 scale Grumman F14B Tomcat, first announced back in 2019, looks closer to release, probably in 2022. This is still with Great Wall Hobbies. Mm-hmm. And they're they've got some competition against Tamiya. Their 1/32 scale Curtis P40B/C gets a new boxing, a special 2022 Christmas edition, P40B Pearl Harbor.
It's a nice kit.
GWH also showed a built-up kit of their 72nd scale MiG-29 Fulcrum A late type, being with 5 decal options. Takeum are releasing a 35th scale kit of the MQ-8B Fire Scout drone helicopter. Yeah, and Hobby Boss have announced a new 1/48 scale kit of the Hawker Hurricane Mark 1. Yeah, that's interesting. Their news seemed to have caused sharp intake of breath for many modelers, as Hobby Boss seem to totally stuff up every time they attempt a British subject in 48 scale. There is, however, a bit of hope with this one. The Trumpy Boss 124th scale Hurricane is actually very well thought of, and while it has its share of niggles, the shape is supposedly very good. So if they just scale that one down, they could get a good result. Fingers, toes, and eyes are crossed. Speaking of downscaling, Trumpeter are shrinking their 1/35th scale Mil 8 helicopter down to 1/48 scale. November will see Trumpeter release a 48 scale Mil 8 MT/MI-17 HIP H Soviet era helicopter. Fingers crossed that the 48 scale version will be as nice as its larger brother. ICM have shown the CAD renders of their upcoming 72nd scale KI-21 Sally. They appear to have captured the subtleties of the shape extremely well. Unlike previous manufacturers' attempts at the subject, this one looks really like, a KI-21. From the talk of the forums, this should be a big seller for ICM.
And if you go on to Scale Mates, they've also got, there's a good chance that kit will be coming out in 48 scale as well.
Seriously.
Which would be a definitely go-getter.
Extra Kit have announced 2 boxings of the 72nd scale Saunders Row SRA-1 single-seat jet engine powered flying boat fighter.
Oh, yeah, I know the one. Yep.
The proto box. What's he saying? I can't understand what he's written there. It's a prototype boxing with markings for the solo prototype, for the sole prototype, I should say, and a what if boxing with markings for the US Navy, Fleet Air Arm, and Royal Australian Navy examples.
Okay.
The kit provides a kind of waterline option, and you get instructions where to cut the fuselage hull and a blanking plate to fill in the hole, and the rear of the box is printed to represent a section of the ocean in which you can pose your amputated model. An option
That's weird.
probably only for the brave, but a kind of neat idea. A bit more information on the two Takom 135th scale Apache helicopters kits mentioned last time. We now know that there will be an AH-64D Apache Longbow and an AH-64E Apache Guardian. It looks like surface detail will be a whole nother level. And Takom are saying there will be 40,000 rivets on the model.
Wow.
On several different types as well. So I see it's a real challenge for those rivet counters out there. If they start counting those rivets and can't find all 40,000 of them, well, then they might just have to take a good, hard look at themselves. By the way, this is slated for release later in 2022. Edward will release a 148 scale A6M3 Type 32 Profi pack in October 2022.
Yeah, I got mine on order.
Included one model, photo etch parts and canopy masking, decals for 5 aircraft, and schemes cover most of the camouflage types seen on the HAMP.
And a lot of those schemes are ones that flew over Australia.
Really? Oh, there you go. A double boxing of the A6M3 Type 32 and Type 22 will be released as a limited edition in December 2022, just in time for Christmas. And Edwards say that an A6M2N roof float plane will be released earlier in the new year. That is 2023.
More money to spend.
Well, why not? Military vehicles. Border models have shown box art for a new 35th scale kit. It is an EV3 Pioneer Panzer Swiss Series German demonstrator. The bucket and boom are movable, the tracks and suspension are workable, and the decals for Swiss and German machines. And of course, photo etch fret is included. Released for later in 2022. That's it for now. Never had so few military vehicles being announced. That's very strange, says the Falcon. Well, there you go. You guys got anything new that you can think of?
No. Well, local news.
Yeah.
The hobby man here I had a chat with the boys over on Thursday, and they are now going to be stocking Guns paints.
Oh, very good.
Yeah. She mentioned that to me, and I looked him straight in the eye and I said, about bloody time. But
actually, for a medium-sized hobby shop, they stack a great range of paints there.
Yeah.
All Tamir and SMS.
They've got Vallejo, Scale 75.
Yep.
So they even got I think they've even got the obligatory Humbrol.
I think they do.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. All right, let's.
Actually, I do have something.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes. Copper State models.
Oh, yes.
Have I don't know if you're aware that they've redone the aftermarket wheels for the Lanchester, which are now being rather than being resin cast, they're now being 3D printed, and we're talking the most thinnest spokes.
Oh, cool.
They're available, and I think very shortly, or they may even be available now, they're also doing a wheel set for the Minerva. So you're going to be able to get them with the really, really thin spokes.
Cool.
So I've got a couple of those on order. And they're releasing all the figures, doing pre-orders on the figures for the new German armoured car that's coming out shortly, the Earnhardt.
Wunderbar.
Yes. So, stuff, just Copper State just keeps those Latvian boys keep
Giving
out the good stuff.
Yes. Absolutely. There you go. Julian, got anything new that you can think of?
No.
Oh, beautiful. How about we have a very short break and then we'll have a chat with our good mate Lincoln.
Yeah.
Back very shortly. Whether you build aircraft, armour, ships, science fiction, cars or figures, the Fine Scale Modeller magazine provides the how-to information you need to take your modelling to the next level. In each issue of Fine Scale Modeller, you'll find clear how-to features on model assembly and finishing written by experts, reviews of the hottest model kits and products, tips and techniques for assembling, painting and finishing, as well as inspiring photos of readers' models. To find out how you can get your copy of Fine Scale Modeller, go to www.finescale.com. And hello and welcome to the show. We have our very good friend, and gee, I think you're back again for about the third or fourth time, Lincoln Wright. Hey, how are you?
Hey guys, thank you very much for having me back on the show. It's good to be here. And yes, I think this is maybe a record on podcast for me. Yeah, I usually don't get a second or third turn.
Well, of course, the exciting news that we've got is the release of your first book, MK44, Volume 1. And I've got it.
Okay, it is my first book. Okay.
Well, technically, it's your first book, isn't it, by yourself?
It's my first book. Let's call it that.
Yeah.
Exactly right, David. Thank you.
And
Or is it my second first book? Or is it my first second?
And we're so lucky to actually have a copy in our hot little hands that we're looking through. And oh my God.
It is amazing, isn't it?
If you do nothing else this week, you have to go and purchase a copy of this book because it is
amazing.
just drop dead gorgeous.
How long have you had this, Dave?
I've had it since Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so you've had enough time to go through it.
Yeah. And even if you haven't heard of Machine Krieger, you don't know what Machine Krieger is, let me tell you guys, you're going to love this book.
Yeah, I agree.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
Wow, thanks, David. That's such high praise. I'm so happy to hear that. I mean, this is actually my first review, and I'm live to it. So yeah, I was a little bit nervous. You know, this would not be it wouldn't be the timing to have your first book panned, would it?
No, it wouldn't. And to be fair, I wouldn't have had you on the show if I was going to pan you.
Okay, good stuff. I sent it nice and quick and early, so you could have a good look.
But the photography alone just speaks for itself.
Well,
it's just such high quality
so happy
photos,
to hear that. Yeah,
and usually
when
you get such large photos, you can always like pick something that's wrong here and there. I've had a look through it, and everything just looks amazing. It just gels.
And
the other thing,
find anything wrong.
that's it. You can't find any faults in any of the builds. They're just amazing. And the weathering just blows my mind. Absolutely, just. Boom.
And it's not your traditional how-to book. It's a mixture of showcasing the Machine Krieger models. It's showcasing the gorgeous artwork of the modelers who have helped contribute to it. And there is some how-to in it as well. So it's a real, I don't know, Link. What would it? It's.
Hang on, before you ask him, I'd like to give my sort of impression on it.
Oh, please do.
Here we go.
As someone who's held it for a good 10 minutes, right?
But he's still smiling.
Yes.
Julian is smiling.
Yeah.
Julian's a sci-fi guy. He's smiling.
Just having sort of skimmed through it, it kind of comes across as very well balanced. It's got sort of a showcase portion to it because obviously you're showing off your work and what you can do with the MAK models. And then on top of that, you've got some how-to and also some introduction to the sort of lore and history aspects of the franchise.
Yep.
And that is pretty good because it's kind of like an all-encompassing MAK kind of thing, right? It covers every base in just a nice way. It doesn't get too nerdy with the
right
with the lore type stuff. It gives you a bit of an overview, and I quite like that. I haven't gone through it in detail because, like I said, I've only held it for 10 minutes. But
sure,
I like how it's a great all-in-one sort of start if you want to get into MAK.
Yeah.
for a model that is coming across some aircraft and tanks and things like that.
Sure. Thank you. That's exactly my my target with it. Exactly that. Thank you for seeing and understanding that. Sincerely appreciated. So happy to hear that.
No worries at all. So I thought it'd be interesting if you could just sort of perhaps step through, because teasingly down the bottom it has Volume 1 written on the bottom left-hand corner.
Well, there's no
of the front
tease. That's get your pre-orders in every time.
So it's got Volume 1 in there. So obviously this is part of a much deeper and longer sort of process that you're looking at moving forward with, isn't it?
Yes, 100%. Yes. And not only with machining Krieger, but, I'm a multifaceted nerd. So I'd like to incorporate other can we call them not genre, but properties?
Sure. Yep.
And try to get in other sci-fi works. I mean, with the first book that I was able to do standalone was the FAQ from Sci-Fi FAQ, the AK Interactive guys. So we got to show a bunch of different kinds of works in there. But I didn't feel that the depth can't be there because, that series, excuse me, did I stutter? that series is all about trying to show a great overview of things, isn't it?
Yes.
But what I really had burning inside of me was the idea to get a little bit more depth into these things and have Julian sign off.
Right. I know what you're talking about. It's kind of like when comedians will go to a comedy festival and they've only got like 5 minutes to get themselves out there and done.
Yeah.
Whereas if they do like a comedy special, they've got like a full hour to just walk up and down the stage and really sort of draw it out.
Exactly. So this one, I knew that it would be many people's first ever touch with machining Krieger. So I wanted to give them in Japanese they call it the makunoichi bento. It's the bento, right?
Yes.
It has all of your favorites in it. So there's a little bit of hamburger, there's a gyoza, there's all your little favorite bits. There's some Korean barbecue. Sorry, that analogy might be way off. So it's the KFC box that has all the favorites in it. That's the better way to say it. Sorry, I gotta stay on target for the right audience.
The chocolates. Hey, you've got like all the different
Cadbury
types.
favorites.
Cadbury favorites.
Sorry, that's
that
way
kind of
better.
thing.
Thank you. Yes, exactly that. Cadbury snack block. It's got the strawberry, the pineapple, the coconut ice.
And everyone leaves the almonds for last.
Right. That's exactly it. So, I had people pitching me their ideas as we were working on this too. But having worked on something that's very product focused first, and basically all of my career has been very product focused. You've always got to be selling something in addition to the theme of the publication. But this one was the first time that I also was able to work on something that was purely about the theme.
Yes.
So there's no you can see there's no actual product shill, if I can call it that.
Yeah, I like the word shill.
Other than the actual kits, and it's more of paying homage to them because it's because it's not based on a historically existing vehicle or robot, whatever. It's purely based on the artistic design from this Koyokama Sensei bloke, and he's done a really good job. They're such beautiful creations. So I got to go deeper into how to look at them like that, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
The same thing we could do with a Spitfire, couldn't we? They're such beautiful airplanes. But I think the ode to the Spitfire has been done before. So
many times.
Right, and rightly so. But I thought it was about time that I could do something and show this version of it.
Yep.
And by going with this particular kit, it's also something I thought as a first thing to get out there in front of people would be it's a Hasegawa kit, so it's readily available. I think the full repop line is coming up December this year.
Yep.
So they're getting their act together as well. But So Hasegawa, and this one is probably, it's funny. Sorry, I'm going a bit long, but it's not traditional. It's not the 80s style of stuff. It's a little bit more modern. So
Yes, that's one thing I noticed too.
Yeah. Getcha.
It's a new kit. So it might, people might not feel there's too much, sometimes with the old stuff, you might feel there's a bit too much, I don't know the right way to say it, but, you got to do them a certain way. They've been old,
the sort of, you got to adhere to the...
stylized sort of
to the, all the law and conventions and things like that.
Right. The conventions. That's a really good way to put it. Thank you. And here I am pretending to be an author. I can't get 3 words out. But so I thought this one was really good to go with. And Max has actually said the same thing separately from me. That's the other bloke who's featured there, Max.
Yes.
That it's technically, it's like an offshoot of Maschinen Krieger. So we can kind of give an overview of it a little more concisely. So it might be a really good port of call for people to first touch base with this and not need to know everything there is about all of the stuff. They can just start off with one kit. It's actually a series. There's a couple of kits in there. But I thought it might be a good way to first touch on it.
But I've got to say that...
See what people like. Sorry, go ahead.
Your timing's impeccable because, to my eyes, Maschinen Krieger in the last 12 to 18 months has just gone boom. And I know you've had this book in the planning stages for, nigh on 2 years, if not even 3 now. And so you've managed to sort of spot the crest of the wave and just in the right time for this book to come out. Because, we're starting to do quite a bit of travel around shows now, and Maschinen Krieger is just popping up left, right and centre. And, I'm just thinking to TJ from our good mate from our other podcast who was at the US Nats, and he won sort of first place with his kit that he did. And, he's an amazing builder.
Yeah.
And
I'm not saying he's in the next one. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not saying I'm good mates with TJ. I'm not.
But
that's not a spoiler. Volume 2.
TJ's been, he's been sort of the drum major of Maschinen Krieger for quite some time now, and it just seems to be getting this big groundswell now.
Well, they're having a big build-off too.
Yeah, they are.
And they've got, I think, nearly 100 people involved.
Yep.
Really?
It's the first time I've ever been invited to a group build, and they even gave me a little expert badge. So what do I have to do now?
Because there's so many people signed up for that now.
Yeah.
It's just gone crazy.
So you seem to have spotted the wave coming, and this book comes out just as a wave is sort of starting to, get up there.
Can I drop the gag part first before the real answer?
Sure, go for it.
Dude, I am the wave. That just appeared to me. I had to say it. And you guys know I'm really joking.
Yeah, definitely.
A lot of, it's funny. You smack your head against the wall for 20 years and suddenly your wave comes along.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of that, but it's not entirely that. I mean, I make fun of the AK guys a little bit because, they're very commercial. And, of course, they need to be. They're a business.
Sure.
But that book, the AK Sci-Fi FAQ, it had a big impact on sci-fi modeling. And there were plenty of different subjects in there, and I think they covered everything pretty well. But, I did just accidentally, sneakily perhaps, throw in a bunch of Maschinen Krieger content wherever it was applicable, because I do feel, especially if you're selling weathering goods, right? That larger surface that's featured on a lot of the Maschinen Krieger kits.
Yep.
When you're going sci-fi, Gunpla, it's very difficult to do that.
Yeah. Gunpla is very clean.
Yeah. Tell me how I know.
Yeah, right. I know, right? So, old mate Miguel was trying to add those products to Gundam. I said, dude, you're going in the wrong direction there. It just doesn't have the canvas area to do it. And let's be realistic about it. We're taking weathering techniques that many of you have perfected. You notice how I put the onus on you? Not me?
Thank you.
Yeah, because I just steal from you. the surfaces we have on planes and tanks in their popular scales are still pretty big, right? They're a good hand size.
Yes.
We can hold the models nicely, and they're fun to paint, and they're good. You can't do that with a lot of sci-fi kits. They're too thin.
Delicate.
You know what I mean? But
Well, the other way I look at it also is a lot of that Gunpla stuff it's usually in space or they're flying around. Whereas the MAK, the Mac stuff, most of that's ground pounders.
Territory bound, yeah.
there is a lot.
And when you're on the ground, you're going to be collecting a lot more crap around your edges and get a lot more scratches and dents and patina changes through weathering.
Yes.
So it stands to reason.
There are also so I have a very sort of eye for shapes and things, and because Gunpla went the route of animation, right?
Yes.
They had to simplify things. Things got very square and blocky looking, and that's all. That's fine. But I mean,
you are 100% on target there. They're good stuff.
With the MAK stuff, there's a lot of very curved shapes.
Yep.
It's very organic.
Yeah. But it also lends really like people as a modeler. You look at it and you sort of see cast steel. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that just sort of combos off of all the stuff that you're seeing in modeling these days. Like night shift and everyone doing the cast texturing technique with
which I noticed you did on one of them.
And see, an armor modeler who does modern armor, World War II armor, World War I armor, they can look at one of those models and immediately relate to it. Immediately
100%.
relate to it.
Yes. The if I had time, unlimited time, unlimited budget, I mean, I'd really like to do that. And I could poorly do a Sherman, for example, and then have one of these guys standing next to it and show the crossover. Because 100%, our armor modeling buddies, they can immediately look at TJ, what he did, and he's made Bonani-san. Sorry, when it's no, I won't go into that. I got to learn how to regulate myself a bit better. But it's John Bonani.
Yes.
He did a version of one of these kits that features in the book, and it's, oh my goodness, it's so good, because he changed he took one of his airbrush finishes that probably would go in an Axis tank, World War II.
Yep.
And he's applied it expertly to one of these shapes. And I thought that is exactly one of the things that we were looking for, is helping our friends who make both planes and tanks to just switch over, or offer them another canvas that they could enjoy, and not have to learn too many new things, and most importantly, not have to buy a whole bunch of new crap for enjoying their hobby. I mean, you can take the colors over.
Yes.
Yeah, your paints, whatever you're proficient and happy working with.
To me, it's a palette cleanser.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's basically because when you're building like a tank or an aeroplane, you're restricted to what scheme
stuff,
and terrain and so forth.
Yeah.
But when you do an MAK, you can go, I can choose what colours I want.
Your imagination's free.
It's funny you say that.
Max's versions, right?
So one of the things, talking about colour, one of the things I've noticed is that the older style of MAK, the more constricted version of it, they are quite tied in with the sort of 90s era of modelling. Lots of very heavily influenced by German armour and aircraft, all those drab sort of colours, desaturation.
Sure. Yes.
Whereas nowadays, it's rolling off of the Spanish school of modelling, the punchy colours but heavy weathering. The visual feast.
Yeah.
And it's just the right subject.
Oh, it is definitely
to capitalise on that movement.
Yeah. Sure, exactly. Thank you for seeing that.
Like even just on the cover of the new book, you've got yellow with bright light blue.
Yeah.
Now there's two
It
colours.
shouldn't work, should it?
But it does. And that's why it just bang.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the
because I
things
have
that
great skill.
Yes.
That's one of the things that sort of stands
I
out.
thought I'd get a better laugh from I'm joking, but
No, I'm serious. That's brilliant. It just really knocks my socks off.
That was once there's 13, 14. I should know, shouldn't I? But,
Yes, true.
Finishes in there, but yeah, I tried to really expand it out to give people more examples, because I know, I'm human too. We like to have an example to go, okay, if that's cool, then I could do this too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was really the way I looked at it. So I've gone with the traditional style of like hand brushing them.
Yes.
But that's not for everyone. So I've got, there's two of them. I've gone 50-50. They're fully airbrushed. So, because I had people ask me, do I have to hand brush these? I said, no, of course not.
Airbrush them.
Airbrush is okay. Acrylic paints are okay. Messing around with the colors. So that one that you've mentioned, it's got a very different tone of green.
Yep.
It's almost like a Warhammer sort of color. That was me trying to break that traditional look of, like you said, the old Axis Powers
Yes.
style of drab green. I mean, I've got one of them, but then I wanted to do a brighter, brighter kind of green.
And also, one of the ones that really grabbed me was, I think it's right near the end of the book, one of Max's builds, where he's done the octopus.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that
He's
great?
taken the
Yeah.
the shape of the top of the Mac, which has got that bulbous octopus look, and then painted the tentacles all over it. It's just, I thought that was just brilliant thinking.
That was one of the, talking with Max and able to I've still got it recorded. I've actually got it on my desktop because I've looked at it and gone back through it a couple of times. It's such a great talk. Was his being able to share with folks his take on things and how he looked at it and how open-minded he was.
Yes.
So that one was, that was great. Thank you so much for seeing and enjoying that.
Oh, it's one of the things that just sticks to my mind. That one.
Do you like his European car thing?
Yes.
I tried to get a bit of
bubble
the old 90s Seinfeld gag in there. It's European. Max brought a lot to that, and as soon as he found out about the topic, then he was gushing with inspiration and so on. I thought that's great. It really opens everything up.
Yeah, definitely does.
I'm really happy you like that.
100%.
So I actually bought an MAK kit the other day.
What?
Oh, very good.
Okay.
Did you guys hear how quiet that went for a moment?
I've been waiting for the point that started in, and then you guys are waffling on while I was reading the book. And then I was, whatever. Anyway.
So what'd you get?
What did you get?
I bought the I think it's like the new boxing of the Falcon.
Oh, great.
The gravity hover thing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, very cool.
So that's why I'm quite engrossed in this book, especially like the parts where you sort of did a bit of up detailing of the physical features.
Sure.
With the pipes and drilling things out, etc. Because I've always been a fan of this model kit. When you see it, Will Pattinson's done one in the past that looked really nice. It was like a bright red thing with some sort of aluminium panels and things like that in places or whatever. If I recall, I'm really calling from memory here. Like, it was a long way back. But I don't. What always sort of stops me from buying it in the past is once someone pointed out that those are P38 engine nacelles at the front, I couldn't unsee it.
Yeah.
Right? And I still can't unsee it, but I'm going to change it so that I can't see it anymore.
Cool.
So I don't. It's not the entire thing. It's just the very, very front of those nacelle things, because it's sort of like that horseshoe shape, right? With the two forward pointing things. I just need to change the spinner type bits on the ends, and then I can relax because I can't deal with it. So I need to change that part. The rest of it.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do just yet. I was sort of brainstorming last night about what I can do.
I promise I'll come back to David's question about the timing of things, because that was really, really good.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I'm so sorry for getting off target there, David. But
don't we always get off target when we have you on the show?
Well,
Stay on target.
We're all wafflers here.
I did want to say that I really agree with what Julian was just saying now about the it's actually I didn't intend for this to be this is a lead into the second version. one of the chapters I've written is about the permission, being permission based. You know, that Yokoyama-san, one morning at a cafe very early in our friendship, I felt that he gave me permission to both own and change things. And now I can see that happening out in the community, exactly as Julian just explained, right? That once you read something like this, you go, oh, it's okay to hack these up and change it and so on. It's all part of it, because sometimes with other types of modeling, we may not have always been given permission so easily. I know very well. I mean, I don't know if I can say it that way. But I mean, I've made all kinds of. I'm really a plane modeler to start with, you know, FX and stuff. But Warhammer, I still love it, but it's not permission giving, is it? It's especially like maybe in the older days.
Yeah.
Like now they'll go, machine, you know, what is it? Every genre, it's freedom, because please buy it. But actually having someone say to you, yeah, you can do that. It's cool. The group build that you mentioned before, I noticed there were some new folks in there asking, can I paint it like this? Would it be acceptable? Is it okay? And yeah, of course it is. It's your hunk of plastic. You can paint it how you like. So seeing that and being able to embolden other modelers with that gift of permission that I received is that was a big goal of mine. And I want to expand on that with Volume 2. Despite probably not being as good at showing it. But, I mean...
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people don't realize that's a big deal, because Japanese companies are generally very, very, very touchy and almost hostile to any changes or attempts to alter their IP, you know?
Right.
Like, I don't know if people know this, but, you know, like Nintendo... Anyone does anything to do with Mario or anything like that, no. If you didn't have their express permission,
sure,
they'll shoot you down. They'll bring out the lawyers, you know.
Right.
The fact that you've just been given like the keys, kind of thing, even if they're, you know, not the main set of keys, but that's a huge deal.
Oh, sure. Thank you. I mean, yeah, I earned it. I did.
Yes, I agree. You did.
It's not a freebie. But but being empowered to do that kind of permission modeling, I really hope that some folks will jump at Maschinen Krieger and take that on. That, you know, that they can own it too. They can make it their own way. It's something that we're not always empowered to do. But I promise, David, I've got to bring back to the timing of the wave.
Sorry.
Because it's such a good question, and it's a good comment of it. I mean. TJ and is it the Plastic Posse?
Plastic Posse podcast, Triple P.
Yeah, that's it, PPP.
Yep.
Is it okay to mention the other ones on your show?
Of course, we're all good mates. Yeah. We're all good mates. So go right ahead.
Yeah, I really like
just as long as you mention us first and say that we're the stars, then that's fine.
Right. Oh, well, that's why I'm on the bench. Talking from the bench now. Those guys, I asked them about it. Like we actually got to discuss that, because I was also surprised. I mean, I wouldn't say that it was. Gosh, it's a bit odd to comment on, but I didn't ever have a vision that Maschinen Krieger would gain in popularity at this rate. You know, it's always just kind of been there. There's a few people who like it. I've even been poo-pooed over time. You know. Hey, these things all look the same. I said, well, because they're all mine. I mean, I'm the only one making this stuff. So yeah, I'm sorry, I'm not able to change my style, you know, to your standard model. Sorry, mate. But they told me I got TJ and there's another bloke, Aaron. I don't know how to pronounce Aaron's name. I'm not 100% on it. It looks like Cook.
Aaron Cook.
It is Cook. Okay, cool. It seems like a lovely bloke as well. They all leapt on it, and it was because of Maschinen Krieger being, is the word surreptitiously, sneakily slid into place, you know? Because and the funny thing is, it probably helped the AK Books sales that I put so much Maschinen Krieger into it.
Yeah.
I actually had Fernando, the owner, he as I was handing in work for the book, he was getting more and more upset with me. Lincoln, Lincoln, just no, too much Maschinenkrieger. No more Maschinenkrieger. Okay. Because he wanted it to be more fair, and that is fair to him, and the remit, the what the book is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be about all sci-fi, but there was a lot of things where okay, I got to make something with this product. Hey, that'll be perfect for this Maschinenkrieger kit, and plus it was something I wanted to make, like the Falcon, and doing different kinds of camouflage. It's a nice broad surface, not unlike a P-38. So, being able to explore those things was really helpful. But it was these folks. I think it was that particular modeling club, I guess we call them, right?
Yeah.
They loved it because they were getting something new. It wasn't just the same old. It's sci-fi, so we got to do this. I was invited to such a project actually just previous to signing up for the FAQ and starting work on this book. Another Spanish company, I shall not name them, but when they come to the fight, they bring plenty of ammo. I'm just going to say that. But their playlist of models, actually, you guys losing it in the background. It's so much better with video. That there were 3 Spanish companies altogether that I had some talks with. But the guys bringing their guns to the gunfight. Their playlist was can I call it what it was? I mean, I felt that it was old and contrived.
All right.
What do you guys, I get it that you love the 80s and you love the stuff that you grew up with. I mean, but we have to keep it now.
Yeah.
And interesting.
Move with the times, man.
Exactly. Innovate or die.
Yes.
So, you can't stop making, from my point of view, I don't want them to make sci-fi look old, stodgy, and dying because I don't think it is. I think it's the future.
Well, not only that, and just to interrupt you there, sci-fi. We need to capture all these young model makers and painters who are playing in the Warhammer era, and bring them across and grow them and develop them. And if that's through sci-fi and Maschinenkrieger and all the rest of it, well, I don't care what the platform was that we used to transport them into the mainstream hobby.
Correct.
Indeed, they're already in the mainstream hobby.
Gateway drug is what you're looking for.
Yes, exactly right.
Sorry, Dave.
Timing-wise, I think
the Warhammer kids. Yeah,
I think it's kind of a perfect storm, isn't it? I mean, don't get me wrong. It's all because you've been persistently working at it this whole time, and now the opportunity is finally.
But I'm happy to walk in front of someone's parade. Tell me,
yeah. I mean, you've been sort of pushing against the wall for a long time, and your persistence has paid off basically because now's the time.
Yeah.
Now opportunity is ripe, and you were there.
So I've got a student who he's fantastic at Warhammer stuff, and it's the green one. Sorry, not the green one that's on the cover. The other one that's more of a traditional armor finish, isn't it? The olive drab with the yellow patches on his shoulders, and he's enamored with that look. So to be able to get people in, the folks who are Warhammer has already kind of pre-scouted for us, and to be able to get them into scale modeling and scale modeling techniques is very rewarding. So yeah, that's a cool thing as well. Also,
you notice how in Warhammer, Space Marines are the most popular because no one has to paint any phases. Right? They're basically
dude. I started with the Emperor's Finest. There's no harm in it. I'm feeling heresy in the room.
Because I mean,
I got a button
in
here
Warhammer,
somewhere.
it's basically a lot of people find it difficult to paint a flesh face. So, guy wearing a helmet, it just becomes a walking tank.
Well,
right?
that's why when I painted my original Warhammer, I chose Night Lords because being on Nostromo, which was a night planet, the pale skin with black eyes.
Yeah, there we go.
Just white with a black wash over the face.
Basically, that was it.
I did start off this book. I mean, Max loves figures. I mean, he's built his whole business on figures, so there's part of it. But for my versions, I can't paint figures. I'm a horrible, terrible painter, figure painter, and I keep giving myself little, New Year's resolutions. This is the year that I will become a figure painter.
Yeah.
It's not happening. So the machining figures often they do benefit from figure painting skills.
Everything does.
But I know, right? I mean, all models look better with great figures on them. But the faces, they can often be hidden in a helmet. They can have a visor over them. Some of the more challenging ones, they can often be given, the kit comes with night vision goggles or some kind of thing. So you only have to paint, the lower jaw.
Yes.
So it's not too difficult. So we used to discuss that at the time, that the ones without high-level figure painting skills required did tend to sell a little bit better too. Because, that can put us off,
that's
right?
good analysis, yeah.
Yeah, so I've always been, I jokingly say, I have the perfect amount of Maschinen Krieger figure painting skills, which is very low. Because it's just enough to make them look acceptable. I mean, and then we're good. Yeah, then we're good. I mean, of course, man, if I could get Calvin Tan in here painting some stuff for me, he's already shot me down. And we're good mates too.
Yeah.
But I'm kidding, Calvin. I'm kidding. We don't have to go too far on that one because it is a very difficult skill to pick up.
It is. I mean, I think every armor modeler wishes they could paint figures to put on their tanks, but
it takes a lot of years practice.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have the time
Being
to
good at
pick up an
both is
entirely
so-
new hobby.
Yeah, being good at both is nigh impossible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because,
Some people seem to be able to achieve it. I'm not one of them.
Yeah.
No,
Well, I'm pretty happy
can
with
never be
the way
one
I
either.
do figures now. But mind you, that took me a lot of years of practice.
Yeah,
Yes,
most of
yeah.
that years is you coming to terms with your level of skill and going,
Yeah.
this is enough.
This is enough. But now,
Yes,
but
that's
the thing
exactly
is
it.
then you just got to
came
try and
to-
push yourself each time. Push yourself a bit further, and then next time push yourself a little bit further.
It's an entirely separate hobby, I think, almost.
Oh yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I mean, it's part of the hobby, but it requires as much time as being in the rest of it. You know,
And the amount of money I've spent on figures, hoping to one day have the skill to do them justice.
Anyway, so I bought this Falcon, and I had no idea how big it would be. It's huge. I didn't realize these
thing
things
is
were
that
120
the
scale,
box is huge, isn't it? Yeah.
and it fills the box.
Yeah.
Like if you had the thing finished, it would fill the box.
Yeah, I've got the what is it? The big nut rocker,
Yeah.
the big tank, the really big one. That's
Right.
freaking huge.
You know, at our local hobby shop, that's the Hobby Man just around the corner.
Yes,
So they
I've
have
got some news about them later too.
They have an MAK kit in there, and I'd seen it in there before. So when I was on, looking for an MAK thing to buy recently, because I just felt like in the mood, I thought, that's the kind of thing I want to paint in like a bright color. So I'll go look for that, and because I wasn't there at the time, I was on my phone, going with my whim. I started looking it up. I'm like, how come I can't find this thing? It should be in the Hasegawa section. It's not. It's a wave kit,
Yeah.
and it's $300.
No way.
Whoa,
Yep.
and that's an MAK.
Yes.
Wow.
Apparently, it must be something that's been sitting there for the last 30 years or something, like from way back that they had stocked way back.
Was it an
then.
Oscar? I guarantee it was an Oscar, wasn't it?
It's the four-legged thing.
Oh, Gladiator series.
Yes,
Okay.
Gladiator. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah, but I know they shouldn't be $300. I mean, it's a real shame. The way I know where you were too, because I'm not going to say, because we all want to be friends with our retail partners, don't we?
100%.
Yep.
It was Hearns, wasn't it? Hearns. So if you have to edit that out.
Hearns bought this place out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're like Hearns but for the burbs.
Okay. Yeah, their markup on those wave kits it's not right. It's killing the hobby of anything.
And that's an interesting sort of side note, the sort of side panel discussion to talk about, because every time I've looked at MAK kits, the price point seems, really high. And I'm just wondering if you can give any tips to our listeners as to where perhaps they should be searching and looking for Maschinen Krieger stuff at that you think is at a reasonable price.
Okay, the gloves are off.
Yeah.
I mean, with my Hearns bomb, I mean, it probably is right. I mean, buying them directly from retailers in Japan and having them shipped to you. I know it sounds insane, but it actually works out much more reasonable. And yeah,
So other than HLJ, where should we go?
okay. I wasn't sure how you guys sat with HLJ. Not fans.
Oh no, I'm happy either way.
They just don't have what you want in stock usually.
I guess what I'm looking for, Link,
Okay.
is just some honest sort of ideas for the listeners out there.
Sure
The best place to go and look for.
Also, I would assume
reasonably
everyone knows
priced kits.
HLJ, right? Like
Yeah.
you don't need to mention
Okay,
HLJ.
sure,
Everyone
sure,
knows
sure.
HLJ.
I've had a bit of kickback over the years. You mention them and they go, no, I've had issues with them. You go, really?
right.
No, I've never had
Okay.
issues. I've purchased stuff from them. We had no issues at all.
No matter what you say, someone's going to bitch.
Yeah.
So,
I think that.
right.
Well, I don't know what the issues they're
The
having
shipping's
are.
too expensive. I don't even get that money.
Yeah.
Give it to the postman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So the best way to get these things is connect with all of us on social media. Be in some of all of our groups, and we tend to share when the pre-orders are up. Most of the stuff. This is the way to let the manufacturers and the companies selling the stuff know directly how much their selling ability is. So how many people are buying the kits now? Because when you think about it, when they make these kits, they don't know how many they're going to sell. So it's always a bit of a gamble for them, especially for the smaller operators. Like, Wave tend to make slightly more interesting, exotic ones. And they're beautiful to build as well. Whereas Hasegawa have got the old style of doing things, right? They go big and pray that it sells.
Yes.
So if we do them on pre-order, they get more accurate forecasts for how things are going. So most of them, HLJ.com. There's a few other ones like AMI, AMI.com, but they're all pretty samey, I feel, with the prices and what have you. But if you do pre-orders with them, they pass that information back up the chain. So the manufacturers do get more info on about what their selling potential is, right? You tend to get a little bit more of a discount too on them. And if you can combine them, I mean, that's why I'm a fan of HLJ. Is that what do they call it? They got a brand name for it, right? How they collate your orders and ship them out together for you.
All right. Okay. Oh, the online warehouse or whatever it's called.
Private warehouse. Yeah. I mean, I'd love to be pitching local shops for this, but
for sure.
The trouble is, I mean, and poor local shops. I mean, I'm on their side as well. I just understand that they can't afford to go big on something that's not they feel might not sell. So I know I've had a bunch of friends tell me they'll go in and they'll ask their local store, "Can you please order this?" And the local store says no because they don't sell. So it ends up being that catch-22, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But if we go with the pre-sale side, it helps them to see how it works. Does that kind of make sense? Did I get that out?
No, it definitely does.
Yeah.
So we should, generally speaking, the news goes up. I try to share the pre-sales as well. You bundle them up and then get them sent over all together.
Well, if you want to let us know, we can give them a shout out and everyone can pile in.
Sure. I mean, yeah, we can do that.
So I mean, we haven't seen some new kits from Hasegawa for donkey's years, I guess. And is there
that's in any genre.
Yeah. Is there any news about any brand spanking new kits that we've never seen before that perhaps you might know of that are coming out in the future?
Yes. So, but I've got to hedge my bets, right? Because if they'll find out it was me, right? Because I'm that one gaijin out there on the loose, spilling his guts on podcasts.
I have got an electronic way I can alter your voice, Lincoln Wright.
Right. One thing that I can spill is that so this Mark 44 series.
Yep.
There is a brand new one coming to it. Yeah.
Cool.
So look for that around the end of the year.
Excellent.
Very cool.
Excellent.
But I understand what you mean, though. I mean, David had asked me, you want something that's brand spanking new. I mean, some of them are, it's a little more, it's a little more. It's quite complicated because again with that forecasting sales and not going broke.
And
So
it is plastic injection molding too, so they got to make the
so
numbers.
it's super expensive, right? But there is a release that it's never been a full plastic kit before. There's something called an A8R8, and it's like a burly version of the SAFS, and it's just been released this last week.
Cool.
The news for it at the All Japan, that's the one held in Tokyo.
Yep.
All Japan Model Show. It's the alternate one to Shizuoka. For the companies that don't get invited to Shizuoka. Yeah, so because if it's released at that show, it must be a wave kit, and probably our best way to do it will be to pre-order it and get it from Japan. So I'll do my best to make sure everyone gets a heads up on that one.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's the kind that you should buy like 3 or 4 of, and hide them up under your IKEA sofa.
Well, a part of your superannuation plan.
Yes, exactly. Put them away. They seem to be performing better than stocks. So it's a really cool one. I like it because it's forearms. It's kind of got a Popeye vibe to it. It looks very physically strong and powerful. Yeah, it's got the forearms on the
you mean the not 4 as in the number 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks very burly. It's one of the ones I've always had a passion for. Been looking for it to come out, and that's very exciting. I mean, and there's just recently there's been a brand new tooling of the Melusine. It's like the Tiger Tank version of the bad guy suits.
Right.
It's out and it's selling super well.
Yep.
Melusine. So coming to a future book.
Good.
Well, speaking of coming to a future book, what is the future of books from your publishing company?
Sure. So number 2, I've done kind of soft mentions of it because I can't keep my stupid mouth shut. So I've soft mentioned it a couple of places, but this is probably the most official announcement. I've saved it for OTB. Look at your faces. Like, okay, well, go on, man. Go on.
We're all hanging with bated breath.
I'm hanging on to every word you're saying.
I mean, seriously, it's like the timing feels so right to me because as we've been writing it and seeing what's happening on the news, I almost want to change part of the title to the Artemis expedition with all the going back to the moon talk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Way before I was even, I'll be super honest. Was not really that up to speed on it. I just thought it was a cool subject because it's just something I personally like, and I thought it was good to get away from something like this. Lunar combat, MK lunar combat, because and it's about the fight for Luna. So it's going back to the older stuff in a way, and how they. During part of the battles that were happening at the time, they needed to wrest control of Luna, the moon. Sorry, I know you know that, but it felt quite pedantic of me to say it. Yeah, Luna, the moon. To wrest. See, that's a good word, isn't it? I got to get that in there somewhere. To gain control of the moon from the occupiers, which are the Stral Democratic Republic. They're the ones who've been granted dominion over the Earth in that setting.
Yep.
So I thought it's also a really good introduction to it because the old stuff I think is pretty well known. There's a bunch of us out there who are somewhat aware of SF3D, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yes, I do. I definitely do.
So we know them, and we know the whole ground pounding aspect of it, and and they're reasonably unsophisticated, aren't they? So we know that. But I thought, what if we delve into that world, the older stuff, with the battle for the moon, and showcase some of them, because it shows an interesting progression from the way the ground pounders then went to the moon, and how they come back, and it's part of that theme of progression that is highly prevalent through the Machine and Krieger stuff. So
Plus the weathering.
That's the one.
Yeah, plus the weathering is going to be totally different.
It's completely different.
Yeah.
I mean, mine aren't secret. I have at least three shown so far. I did, and I went big because the local retail shops told me that they have more trouble selling. See, I'm all about the retail. Got the retail love, right? Mm-hmm. Local ones. They told me they have trouble. To the suits, there's plenty of content out there showing how they do them, but they told me they feel that there's lack of content on how to do the big stuff.
Right.
So, and I mean, I get it too, because of the prices and how we kind of get ripped off for some of the things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I said it. The people will tend to focus on the small stuff because the big stuff can be overpriced if you don't just get it. So like that $300 kit you were talking about just before.
Yeah.
That only retails for like $60 or, I mean, because it is a big kit. Even with shipping, it works out so much cheaper than buying it from somewhere like that.
Oh, yeah, I get you,
Yeah. And how can you work on a $300 kit? I mean, I'd be so scared. Or, what if you really mess up something?
Yeah, you know that everyone in this room has built, except for maybe you, has built like 1/350 scale ships where $300 wouldn't even cover half of the aftermarket that has to go with it.
I'm a poor local Tokyo modeler. That was that's my life, and I'm never going to change it. I can't step up to that. To you highfalutin spendy guys. And that's one of the, I was always joking about that with Yokoyama-san. He'd say it. He goes, you can never leave, can you? Because if you had to pay real money for this, like you do in like Australia, US, and so on, because you wouldn't be able to fly through these kits, would you? And I'd always, I fear the time I have to go back. pay the real prices, $3-4 for a little thing of paint, But back to those things, that's why I try to keep that one really like realistic in a way, to treat them like they're supposed to be. The small kits are supposed to be like a really like a fancy bowl of ramen price. It's really how they're meant to be viewed. But if it's $300, no, I couldn't make them. I couldn't make them the same. I wouldn't have that reckless, abandoned, happy accidents nonsense that I go on with.
Yes, I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yeah. I couldn't do that. So it'd stymie me artistically. I'd be, it's $300. I'm gonna get it right.
Let me do a factory fresh finish.
It's interesting the price point.
It'd stay in the box. That's the reality for me.
Yep.
The expensive ones would stay in the box, and what kind of inspiration is that providing for other modelers? It's not right, is it?
Inspiration for collectors.
It's interesting.
Yeah, exactly.
What you said about the expensive bowl of ramen, because there's not much talk about making model kits accessible with their price point. These days, it's more like how much can we charge? How much can we squeeze them for?
Yeah. And I don't know if it's like this around the world, but coming back to Oz, I was dismayed at how. I mean, I am. I'm getting a little emotional talking about it. But I was really shocked at how plastic modeling has been kind of taken off course a little. Hearing what we're charged.
Yeah.
Gouged.
Some of the prices. Gouged. It's not that the stuff is unavailable.
No, but unfortunately, it's tyranny. It's a tyranny of distance. I mean, we've got the high shipping costs. We've got the Australian dollar, which is
crap.
It gets knocked around quite a bit compared to any other currency. So you put up with all that stuff, and it is what it is. I mean,
to a point.
I agree, 100% to a point.
That's the only caveat I have, David. You're 100% on target.
Yep.
We do have to pay more. We just do, because that was the opposite. Yeah, hobby's cheap in Japan, but living isn't.
Yes.
It's insanely expensive. So when people would say that, I go there and I can get it for this price. Yeah, but paying to stay alive there is a heck of a lot more expensive.
And that's why I laugh when
we get it really good here.
And that's why I laugh when my US mates sort of, they go, oh my God, you want $60 for that kit? And I look at them and go, seriously? That is a steal at $60 for a particular kit.
Quick, give me three.
It's exactly right. Shut up, take my money.
Quick, my body is ready. Give me as many as you can fit in.
Yeah, thus I had to buy a separate suitcase to come home from Omaha.
Yeah. And And it is what it is because hobby sort of fluctuates with at local areas. I mean, look at the poor UK at the moment and our friends over there and the prices they're copping at the moment. Oh my God!
And that's for Airfix kits that are produced that are an English company.
Yeah, but let alone buying anything from overseas. My goodness.
Yes.
But anyway, we're digressing, and that's not what I want to sort of focus on at just this point in the interview because we're
momentum and joy of machinery.
We're all giddy from Volume 1 and everything, and you've dropped some hints about Volume 2 and what perhaps we can look forward to.
So I wanted to go bigger.
Yep.
So I mean, if I'm really honest about it, my forte, my happy zone is the little kits because I was knocking them down like cheap ramen. So I actually started working on this genre when the AFS kits came out. So they're the most simple ones, and they really were. They were like they were literally like $12 a pop.
That's right.
Kind of local feeling. So I was making one a week. And it was a great way to get into it because, you get your skill up, you get your confidence up. You can mess up a little bit and you just roll on with it. But I wanted to go bigger to help those real retailers to be able to perhaps sell and empower our friends to have a swing at the big ones. I mean, not everyone's going to be like Julian and go, I'm going to get this big whopping Falcon kit and ruin it to do that. And I'm saying this in jest and ruin it to the point I can't see that it's a P38 anymore. No, there's not many of us who can do that. So being able to put out an example of some of the ones that are big and somewhat difficult. I mean, I was intimidated seriously by the camel kit.
Yeah.
It's huge. Well, as I was making it, I'll be honest, I was a little intimidated, because I'm like, oh man, this is huge. I hope I don't mess it up, and I hope I can paint this thing, because I'd never worked on anything that big before. I mean, seriously. No, I'd worked on one that was huge though. Sorry, a lunar diver that was in full 1/20th scale. And
I want to do one of those.
Massive.
I want to do a lunar diver.
Yeah, it was massive. But even the 135 of that feels reasonable. So I've done one of them, a 135, and I've placed them into their world. So there's a famous box series of Operation Dynamo, and that's the name of one of the it's a big battle, big sneak attack on the moon from the mercenary forces. So I realized that some folks might like the narrative as well, because I myself, I find it easier to make kits if I know a bit about the history and what's going on.
Yes.
Yep.
Then you can kind of, like as you were mentioning, like with the weathering and so on, right? It gives us some different choices. Constraint.
While we've been talking about this whole lunar thing, I mean, I've been thinking about like, how do you weather something that's been on the moon?
I've done some research, so I can throw some spoilers out.
Sure.
But so with the attack group is Operation Dynamo. I've tried to keep the color schemes reasonably, like loosely connected, and there's 3 models that feature that one. But then I've been able. I asked permission, and they said yes. Can I add another side story to it, whilst Operation Dynamo is going on? There's another side mission. They've always got operations. There's special forces operations happening to prepare the way for the main operations. So what have I got? I got to make sure I say it right. I can't just drop it, because it's what it is in my mind, and then there's what it's really called. So like the book's official title and what's on the cover, etc., is slightly different, right? So behind the scenes, we just always called it the Mark 44 Guide, but the real title is written across the bottom, right?
Yes.
The MK Lincoln Report, Volume 1. I do apologize to everyone. I am not so conceited that I just put my name in as many places as possible. The old Ida Buttrose technique, right? The title was chosen by Ilka Almasan. He said, no, you got to call it this. I'm like, really? I sound like a bit of it's kind of a bit twat-like, isn't it, for me to put my name in the in the title like that? He goes, no, that's what it's called. You're going with that. Okay. So the operation's called, of course, the reference is clearly obvious. Dark Side of the Moon.
Yes.
Now, I know it's a bit cheeky, but I really wanted to have this concept of a special operations attack happening just prior to the invasion force showing up and taking out key resources on the far side of the moon, where the Strahl have been sneakily hiding them.
Yep.
And by taking out those ones, then the primary attack of Operation Dynamo then takes out the next subsequent step of assets on the moon. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know. I think about this stuff a little bit too much, don't I? You know, what I really have access to is a time machine. I just go and have a look at what they're really doing. So I've got the lunar diver. So the Snake Eye goes in first. Team of Snake Eyes, they go in and they're taking out things on the dark side. And then you've got like the first airstrikes happening on the moon, and that's done by the lunar divers. They go in with their railgun, taking out the anti-air assets on the moon. Then you've got the follow-up forces. So one of them is the camel, and that's why I've got a pawn thing on the camel. You know, a chess pawn.
Yeah. Yep.
Because the background story for that I found very, very moving. That they called themselves pawns because they could only move forward. It's like. Was it Montezuma attacking South America that he burnt the boats?
Oh, no, that was Cortez. He burnt the boats.
Cortez, I'm very sorry. You're right. 100% it's Cortez. See,
so
I
his
can
troops
make up
should be 100%
stuff.
committed, yes.
Yeah. I can make up future stuff. I can't remember past stuff. That's how that works. So, yeah, like with Cortez, they could not sidestep their mission. They were moving forward to success or death. So that's why they called themselves pawns. They were to retake the surface of the moon, or there's no backup coming. There's no rescue plan. So that's probably way more than a sneak peek, isn't it?
No, well, it's tantalising, and it's got
part of the story I wanted to share with you.
And it's got me terribly excited now to see Volume 2.
Oh,
and
definitely.
Is there any sort of you got a rough sort of timeline as to when we can sort of start thinking about this?
Yeah. So much of the content is already finished. So the models themselves, or close to it. Yokoyama-san has been pretty careful to say, look, don't just belt them out. Wait until they're good. So you don't. It's not a magazine. You don't have to hit a timeline. You know, make these at your speed and release them when they're ready. So that's probably one of the best things about Mark 44. Is that we went over it a lot. It was reworked and checked quite a few times. So, you know, I've not had any negative feedback. I mean, if you can find a typo in it, because isn't that one of the things you hate when you get a book and it's not been proofed?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and especially these modeling books, they're not cheap, are they? So, you know, we really went into it with a lot of care into checking that it
shows. It really
shows.
shows.
It does, yeah.
Reads well. And thank you. So, can I give a shout out to there's a friend of ours who actually passed during the process of making this. That's why it's written to Andy Butcher. He worked really, really hard for it and getting all the proofs done. In English to English translation, we jokingly called it. And yeah, just part way. The poor guy, something happened, and we lost him.
Such a shame.
Sad to hear.
Yeah, I'm sorry to put the downer out there, but I mean, it's important to remember our friends.
Credit where credit is due.
Credit where credit's due. And the layout is done by super pro Alex Duchamp. You might have seen his modeling work. He's really, really good. Machine in Heimet is the name he uses on like Instagram and whatnot. Super good. And I rescued him from making tanks quite a few years ago.
That's a great way of putting it.
Not my words. Alex actually said that. So yeah, I wanted to. It just felt like the right time to point out that despite my name being on every single page, it's not me. It's not all me. I mean, the team of people got together and made this. You know, there's credit due where everybody's helped out.
Well, Link, I've got to congratulate you on a piece of art, which, again, I highly recommend that it should be on every modeller's library. It's something that everybody should be looking at to get. I'm so excited that we're actually having you on the show to talk about this first release, and I'm terribly excited to hear about Volume 2 is definitely in the works. This is just a shameless plug, Link. So where can people go to actually find and order a copy of this beautiful piece of art?
Paintonplastic.com.
That was that. I didn't quite catch that. Can you say it again, please?
plastic.com.
Fantastic.
Please go there. I've got it on the front page and every other page.
Can I just say, with the Falcon that I'm gonna make?
Yes. No, I'm not going to give you your paint scheme.
No, I'm not gonna. No, I've got my own paint scheme.
Yeah, I know. I'm totally messing with you.
I mean,
totally,
I don't always have something in mind, but this time I got something in mind because I saw it there and I was like, I got an idea. So, my plan is to sort of go away from the sort of German sort of influence. I was like, I'm going to paint this one to make it look Britishy looking. Oh. So, if you know the Mickey Mouse scheme,
yes.
With the green on and the black, I'm going to go in that kind of a direction.
Oh, with the black like dots.
Yeah, the dots. I'm not going to exactly go the circles, but I'm going to go in roughly that direction, and I'm going to see if I can cook up like some kind of like a night, like the British sort of like lions and dragons and all those sort of like flags and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to slap one of those. I'm going to cook up something and slap one of that on it.
Is the box you have? Is it a Griffin version?
It's the one where it's all completely green one on the cover.
Okay. So because those water slides are available, there's you are correct because that one is a mercenary forces vehicle.
All right.
It was stolen from the other side, and so Yokoyama-san's vision for that one was it's more like it's the Spitfire of the Machine Krieger stuff, right? So your vision for doing it with a Commonwealth style, British style paint scheme is 100% thematically on target. You're doing super well.
Well, that's a handy thing to have.
Yeah, and because he named one of them a Griffin version, it actually came with a stylized, like you said, the British dragon water slide. And I think it'd look really awesome, right, on a Mickey Mouse camera. So that's a really good call.
Cool.
Yeah, I really like it.
I've got the okay from Lincoln, guys.
We actually did a gag about that here in Sydney. A couple of the guys came visited who weren't too far away, but one of my friends, he visited from Newcastle, the next city up, right?
Yeah.
And that was our joke that we shared because we were doing it in the food court of a little shopping center, and I jokingly gave him the so-so okay approval of his kits. It's so much fun to be able to joke like that, isn't it?
Oh yeah,
definitely.
You're giving him the blessing.
I love to joke like that.
And you got to stand up and do the hand sign.
Right.
Put a bit of oil on his forehead.
If I could jokingly do it, you know the way that the sumo wrestlers collect their winnings at the end of the bout?
Yes.
It almost looks like that too, doesn't it?
It does.
The old, I take the word of cash, thank you. Yeah.
I saw this video once where like they were building a house in Japan and they do like this thing where they pour the sake or whatever it is over the beams and things.
Salt.
Salted. Yeah.
Yeah, when you first see that, you're like,
surprisingly old-fashioned, but
you're not doing the old tradie thing, right? But can I say that I'm pretty self-conscious about this whole thing too, making jokes like that about Link approved. I would never say that myself, right? It seems so not right, but I find it hilarious. So as long as we look at it from that point of view, I'm okay with it. So as long as you mock me somehow along the way.
Oh, don't worry, we'll mock you.
Good. Even though I'm a big time proper author now, can't get 3 words out in a row.
Yeah, Lincoln Wright professional author.
Yeah,
mate, it's been fantastic having you on the show yet again. It's always awesome when you come on, and we always have a great time with you.
Yeah,
we all of us wish you the greatest success with this first volume, and we can't wait to see the next follow-on ones coming along as well.
I'd like to say thank you very much. I mean, being on your show has of course helped. It's motivation, letting people know. I don't want to shout his name out, but you probably know him. You have like a super fan of the show in Broome.
Oh yeah.
Well, you do.
Yes.
Even if you don't, you do. So this lovely bloke followed up with me afterwards when I was on the show last time, and I didn't realize he's from Broome, right? Until I shipped off to him, and got slugged by the post office. Just kidding, mate. Just kidding. But I was so impressed with it because my notes I made the note. Please sign this one for him. Lovely bloke who found out about me from watching your show, and I really wanted to pass that feedback to you. That you've got an awesome audience, lovely people who watch the show, and they would never have heard about me nor this project if you hadn't invited me on the show. So. Thank you for him, the fans, and thank you very much from me. I sincerely mean that.
No worries, mate. More
definitely.
It's been a fantastic ride. I mean, feel like we're sort of all growing up together. I mean, the podcast. You were one of our earliest sort of interviews, I think, back when we were in the double figures.
I think it was back in the days when no one else would come on the show, right? So it's changed.
We're hard up. We're hard
like
up
you
for
said, together we've changed. We've upgraded, haven't we?
Yeah, we're hard up for a guest speaker. Let's call Link.
Yeah. And congratulations on your overnight success, which has only taken 20 years.
The only reason why we're able to get people on the show is because you were on it first.
Yes.
I really don't think so. You guys bring a lot to the table. You've got such broad, experience with the modeling and different genres. So no, it's not. No, it's you. It's you. It's not me.
Thanks,
I do a Seinfeld again. That's a George Costanza special, isn't it?
Definitely.
It's not me. It's you.
It's you.
And hang on, can you just refresh my memory again? That was paint on what, Lincoln?
Paintonplastic.com.
No worries.
I've tried to set it up. So if you also search for Mach 44, MK44 book,
Yes.
Lincoln Wright book,
Yes.
those ones should all point at me now, please.
Someone's been busy on Google.
A book. And the guy who did the AK sci-fi book and was never mentioned again.
Yeah, him, that fella.
Yeah. Am I allowed to say that?
I don't know.
It's out there.
Fernando was lovely. He said that he asked if I'd sign one for him. If I get to go to there's a fancy show in Eindhoven each year.
Yes.
Every 2 years.
Every 2 years.
Yeah.
Every 2 years,
Yeah.
yeah. And they may have reached out and asked me if I might guest there.
Oh, well,
Cool.
Ian's planning on
I'm
going
planning
there.
on going there in 2 years' time,
Next year as well, or the year
No,
after.
year after, next year,
It's 23, the next one, right?
No, 24.
24, I
Oh.
think.
Yeah, it's one. They had one this year,
Yes.
and then it's every second year.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the next one will be 24.
Is that Expo?
Yeah, World Model Expo.
Oh, you'd be
Every
perfect.
year?
You'd be perfect for that event. Let me tell you. That is all figures and stuff, really heavy on the figure type stuff.
Yeah.
So like anything that's humanoid looking.
So everyone at that show is better than me.
It's
Mostly yes.
mostly better than anyone we've seen.
I wouldn't. I mean, as far as like strictly figures go, yes.
Yeah, I'm
but
just kidding.
you've got the chops with your stuff to go in there.
Yeah.
It's perfect for
Well,
you.
I don't know if we've mentioned this. Sorry to drag it on, David, but
No, you're right.
I had a brief touch with fame once upon a time, because sci-fi is really big in Italy.
Right, yep.
Huge, right? They love their Japanese sci-fi. They invited me to World Expo in 2014.
All right.
So, yeah, not famous in Australia, but in Italy, man, that was big. So I got, and they brought me in as a the guest judge for sci-fi. So, and that was one of those ones. I think World Model Expo originally started just with figures, didn't it?
Yes.
The level was insane.
Oh, it is, yeah.
Just absolutely insane. And then they go, "Hey, can you also judge the anime style figures, please?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm not the guy. I'm not the guy." But yeah. So I've been really gagging to get back to Europe, to go to one of those sort of shows, just for the inspiration that you can
Exactly, yeah.
you can
And
absorb.
the people you meet too.
Yes. The expense is not a good part of it, though.
No.
No.
So-
Yeah.
Well, we'll try and help you sell more books.
Thanks. They were really cool. They said, "Yeah, we'll set you up with a table."
Even
So I
better.
just have to I have to get on the plane, and carry them all with me. But
Yeah.
I've not 100% signed off on it yet because I've got a responsibility to get the family back to Japan.
Yep.
Right.
The poor wife and the kid, they haven't seen the family for a while, and so this is probably not great podcasting.
No, it's all, everything's
Sorry, guys.
open,
It's
mate.
just just the reality, because it's not legal for the kid to go back yet. So please buy more books so Super Aussie Dad can make that happen.
All right, Link, no worries. Wonderful to have you on the show. When you got some more news about your next volume, let us know, and we'll certainly have you back on then.
That'd be awesome. Thank you very much for that.
No worries, mate. Wonderful having you. Catch you later. Well, wasn't that a fantastic interview with Lincoln?
Yep.
Yeah, just the only problem I have with having these interviews with Lincoln is I know for the rest of the day I'm not going to get any modelling done because I'm going to go home, I'm going to go to my stash, I'm going to rip out all my Mac 40 MK kits and SF3D kits, and I'm just going to go through them again. It happens every time we talk.
When are you going to build one?
I did build one. I built the Gustav earlier this year.
Did you?
Yeah.
Jeez, my memory's terrible.
Because I remember I got panned on one of the Facebook groups. I got pretty much called out as a Nazi.
That's right. Yeah, that was so funny, man. That's hilarious.
Yeah, someone called me out as a Nazi for building something like this.
Gosh.
And I was like, ooh, okay. Sort of thing you just don't answer. I just let everyone else rip this guy a new bumhole.
Yeah.
Which they did.
Don't need to.
All right, so we'll be back in a fortnight. Before I head off, though, and say goodbye to everybody, don't forget there's a great range of other podcasts out there for you to listen to. To find where all of the podcasts are, go to www.modelpodcasts.com, where our good friend Stuart up in Canada has done a landing page for all of the modelling podcasts that you should be listening to.
Yep. And they're all great to listen to.
Yeah, especially ours.
I just find it's fantastic. You jump on the bench, you stick that on the background, and you just, while you're modelling, you listen to the guys.
It is.
And you get some great interviews, great banter.
Great information.
Yep. Always good.
Yep.
Always good. Yep.
Terrific. And don't forget, if you've got some modelling friends, don't forget to let them know about our podcast, and also maybe show them even how to download and get podcasts on their phone.
Yeah.
So just share the love.
That's it.
All right, Julian.
Good evening. Well, it's not evening, is it? It's afternoon.
No.
Is it afternoon yet?
Yeah.
It's
afternoon.
afternoon.
Nearly 1
Okay.
a.m.
Yeah, well, good afternoon, and I'll see you later then.
Ian.
Hasta la vista, babies.
Oh, no.
All right, guys, thanks very much for listening. We'll be back in a fortnight, and of course, we're going to have Chris Meddings on the show, which promises to be another fantastic episode. So we'll be back in a fortnight. Catch you later.